Hey, welcome to 2022 guys. So with no doubt, we can already anticipate that this is gonna be a great year for content creations and of course content creators. So within 2020 and 2021, we saw a tremendous surge and demand for visual content and productions. A lot of folks were making full-time living, creating content from the comfort of their home. And social media is going crazy. So this means there's a whole lot of audience for whatever you can create. So on the previous video we dropped on Canon C70, we got a question from some of you. Anthony wanted to know quick way to balance a gimbal stabilizer. So today, I'm gonna be showing you guys arguably the most efficient and fast method I personally use in balancing every gimbal stabilizer. It doesn't matter the brand or product. I'm also gonna show you guys a way not to overwork the motor or the battery. I know there's a whole ton of videos out there on the internet, on this same topic, but I promise you, this is gonna be one of the most useful videos on this topic. Let's get right to it. There's a fundamental rule of thumb to every gimbal stabilizer. It doesn't matter the brand or size. They all have three axes: the pan, the tilt, and the roll. And the goal is to evenly distribute weight among these three axes before turning on the motor so that the motor ends up doing the bare minimum. I'm going to be trying out this method on both the Zhiyun Crane 3S handheld stabilizer, which is one of my favorite go-to gimbal because I do a lot of one-man band run and gun production, and also the DJI Ronin 2, which carries more payload and considered heavy duty. The Crane 3 supports up to 14 pounds payload, and one good feature I love about the Crane 3 is that it includes arm extension to allow more clearance and fit large cameras. The Crane 3 battery is unbelievably powerful. Without overworking the motor, a single charge can last for up to 6 to 8 hours of shoots. Crane 3 has one of the strongest torque for a gimbal within its price range. Let's get into the balancing and setting up of this gear. As I mentioned earlier, every gimbal has three axes: the pan, the tilt, and the roll. To get started first, I'm going to make sure my camera is firmly attached onto the base plate before mounting onto the gimbal. Depends on the size of my camera, I can push adjust the bottom tilt arm to allow more room. Next is to make sure the gimbal is completely powered off. Then lock the entire axis. There's a little lock device assigned to each of the axes. Just make sure all of them are turned to the lock sign. Then unlock and balance each axis one at a time. It's always good to start with the one closest to the payload, which in this case is the tilt. This is responsible for the vertical movement of the camera. To even out the weight of the camera on the tilt axis, the easiest way to achieve this is to gently move the camera back and forth until you achieve a common ground. If the payload is up to 14 pounds, it's best if you drop down the tilt lever. And if it's a lightweight camera of about 5 pounds or 6 pounds of payload, you can lift the tilt lever a little bit. Physics. To confirm the weight is evenly distributed, try tilting the camera. If it stays on any position being placed, that means the tilt is properly balanced. You can always get away with the little movement, but that means you are giving the motor more work to do, and this might result in some minor vibrations when on low angle. Lock the tilt axis and move on to the roll. The same method, push back and forth until weight is evenly distributed. One thing I've noticed is that it's hard to move the roll axis if you're using a heavy-duty camera. If that is the case, you can counter the weight by support lifting the camera while moving the roll. When this is done, lock and proceed with the pan. This is responsible for the horizontal movement of the camera. The same method, push back and forth until weight is evenly distributed. When done, you can slowly bend the camera to check if the weight is evenly distributed. Now, you can power the device by holding down the power switch for 3 seconds. The Crane 3S has up to 5 different modes. The PF mode or the pan follow mode. As the name goes, this allows the camera to follow every pan movement but locks the tilt axis. I find myself using this a lot. The F or follow mode follows every movement of the gimbal. This is very useful for top-down, low angle, and high angle commonly seen in music video and films. And we have the L or lock mode. This mode locks up all the axes and keeps the camera on the targeted subject. And the go mode. This mode increases the responsiveness of the motor and mostly used for faster movement shots like in car commercials. We also have the POV mode. This allows control of the roll axis on 45-degree angle. Again, this can be creatively used in music video and stylized B-rolls. And lastly, the V or vortex mode. This is also one of my favorites. You can have full 360 rotation of the roll axis and the gimbal will follow your movement. And that is it for the Crane 3S. Pretty much everything you need to know about balancing this on the go. I promise you on the next video, because we don't want this video to be too long, we're gonna be actually cutting it into half. But on the part 2 of this video, we're gonna be using the same method to balance out the DJI Ronin 2. And by the way, if this is your first time joining this channel, please would appreciate it if you can subscribe, share, or like this video. And of course, if you have any tip at all or any question, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section down below. And thank you so much for watching. My name is Kennedy Seed. I'm a cinematographer and visual effect compositor, and I'll definitely see you on the next video.